live in 3, 2, 1. I think we're already live. This is Angela, and the channel is Be Fabulous You, and I am here with another edition of Notes on the News Feed. I finished doing This Is Us, so if I'm a little teary-eyed, a little choked up. No, actually, I wasn't trying to cry, but I was crying during the end of my review. Recap. So check that out. And I got America's Next Top Model up. And then I'm going to do Married at First Sight. I watched that today. So, and look, I don't even have time to mourn the loss of Jack. We got to keep it moving, Daddy Jack. But I love you. Okay. So, we're working on 1,000 subscribers. 1,000. We're working on a whoop whoop. So if you are already one of my subscribers, thank you so much. Welcome back, everybody who's been here before. If you are not a subscriber yet, go ahead and subscribe. Welcome into the live. We're doing Notes on the News. I haven't even started yet. I'm just, getting us oriented. As you come into the video, please go ahead and like it. Like, comment, subscribe, share. All of that stuff helps the channel, helps us grow, helps us, move up in these YouTube streets, now we at the bottom, we like in the streets. We working on 1,000. Greetings, Rowdy Chica. I had a lives. Is it because I just be having a party by myself? That's what I always tell people when I'm with my Mary Kay people. I'll be like, girl, if you bring people, that's cool. If not, we gonna have a good time. I try to have a good time. Okay. So let us proceed. Look, I got a million things on my list to do today. So I'm trying to get it. Okay, yep. It's because I'm silly. But welcome, Rowdy Chica. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. And everybody else, whether you're watching it on a replay or live, I appreciate you being here. Okay. Old Ethiopian plane becomes cafe in the Oromia region. That's in Ethiopia. Because I had said, I want to learn African language. And then I decided, what African language do I want to learn? Because, it's kind of like if you think in everything in the language of the people who conquered you, how can you ever get free? Because it's like you're conquered even in your thoughts and in your dreams and in everything. And so I was like, I want to learn maybe some Ethiopian language, because that's one of, I think maybe 1 or 2 or 3 countries that have never been colonized in Africa. And then I think there was some conflict with the Oromia or something like that. So, but I don't know much about Ethiopia. But But there's somebody who is on YouTube who does Twi. So I think I have to find. I took one lesson, one YouTube video on Twi. So I might just, since it's here on YouTube and it came across my feed, I might just learn that. American Samoa gets prettier landfill. People were complaining about the landfill, so I guess they made it prettier. But I was kind of like, American Samoa, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands. These are all these places in the world that are like colonies or something of the United States. And I don't understand that. I thought that colonialization was supposed to have been a thing of the past, but we still have colonies. So I'm still trying, like I remember when I had Googled it or Wikipedia'd it 25 or like 5 years ago, not 20 years ago. I was like, I just couldn't really process it or understand it. Hi, welcome in. We got 2 people on the live right now, and hopefully, okay, let's see what's going on in the news. We were just talking about American Samoa and the colonies of the United States, and how I don't really understand that concept. So it's something I'm trying to like. America, Samoa, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, they're all in this category of being like owned and run and dominated. They're not free. And I'm like, this is 2017, is this 2018? Whatever year it is, what's going on? And then the other thing is, I was like, well, is The Rock Samoan? And then the guy who does Finesse, what's his name? 24 karat gold, 24 karat magic y'all know who I'm talking about. Are they both Samoan? Is that because they're not, even though we look at them and we think, they're African American. I think they're like, Samoan or something like that. But anyway, I didn't even know American Samoa was a thing. I probably saw it when I looked it up however many years ago, but I didn't commit it to memory because I was just so confused by the whole The Rock is half Samoan, says Strange Black Media. yeah, I was just so confused by the whole fact that, I knew Puerto Rico was in some weird situation, because when I went to New York and they're like, Puerto Rico, I met people who were like, we got to free Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico needs to be independent. And I was kind of like, okay. And then here recently, we find out that if you're Puerto Rican and you move to the States, you can vote. But if you're in Puerto Rico, you can't vote. It's sort of like being in Chocolate City in Washington, D.C. They have limited ability to vote. Bruno Mars is Filipino, Puerto Rico, Jewish. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Bruno Mars. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. Okay. Pornhub. Listen to this. Pornhub says it will ban deep fake AI edited videos. So I clicked on a video. I'm like, what is deep fake? What does this mean? I don't understand. So they have these porn videos. I guess it's a thing where, they'll put somebody else's face on top of somebody else's face. So like, I guess they do it a lot with famous people, but, so it's like, see, Halle Berry having sex, but it's not really Halle Berry. They just superimposed her face on somebody else's body. And so Pornhub is like, it's going to ban it. Now, whether they're going to be able to regulate it or not is a thing. And I think that they also do it with not people who are not necessarily famous, but I think it's mostly done with famous people from what I could gather. I never even knew about deep fake, i.e. videos. So, we're moving into, when you watch science fiction movies and they have all this virtual reality stuff and you can like virtually have sex. It's like a whole other world. We're moving further and further into it. Missing Nigerian masterpiece found in North London flat. It was actually, I just clicked on the little thumbnail. My phone is small, so I couldn't see it good, but it was a beautiful painting of a black woman. Her name is Tutu, and it had something to do with Nigeria has had some conflict. Within Nigeria, there's been some conflict with people that I read about, but I don't really know much about it. Let me see if I can see this, just give the correct information. Let this load up and let me keep going. Tisha Campbell Martin pursues R&B career at 49. Are you ever too old to chase childhood dreams? I don't know if it's about chasing childhood dreams, but why should she be too old to pursue a singing career if she wants to pursue a singing career? And people, I think I was listening to Forrest Rocks and she was talking about how, hey, we got 3 people in the live. I see 1 like. Y'all know my system is messed up, but if go on and like if you don't mind. So this is a painting of Ade Tutu Ademiliui. And it became a symbol of national reconciliation, unity in the wake of the Nigerian Biafran conflict. And I don't know y'all can't, oh, there it is. Thank you for the likes. So that was going back to that missing Nigerian masterpiece found in North London flat. A flat is like an apartment. Oh yeah, I've heard her music before. Is she any good? Because I think I heard somebody kind of making fun of the fact that, she's crazy because she's trying to pursue a music career, or, and a lot of us are cuckoo crazy in our own ways. But I feel like if you want to sing and you 50, I don't see why you shouldn't sing. I don't understand why we have this concept in our society that everything is for younger people. Tisha can sing. See, Rowdy Chica says Tisha can sing. I haven't heard her, and I think I was on somebody's channel who does music reviews. Oh, I think it was Rambling Reviews brother. I think he does music reviews or somebody. Her performances are really funny. See? And I saw Oscar Brown Jr. once perform, and he was really, really good. And I saw the Mighty Sparrow. I went to this concert years ago. I have never been into calypso soca. I'm not really into it. My first husband was Jamaican. So anyway, we went to this Mighty Sparrow concert. And I'm the kind of person who, when I go to a concert, or if I go someplace and I'm paying you to entertain me, I think you should entertain me. I'm not really one to be like, everybody put your hands in the air. I'll be like, I ain't paid to put my hands in the air. I paid for you to entertain me. By the end of that concert, the Mighty Sparrow, who I was not a fan of, had me bop to the right, bop to the left, turning in a circle. He was such a great performer. And he wasn't no young man at that time. He was singing a song about ackee and saltfish. It was all like all these undertones and innuendo. I was like, oh my gosh. He gave a great show. Please call me Day Day. How am I gonna remember Day Day? I'll try to remember. You know, I'm old. I can't be remembering stuff. Day Day. Um, you have to put it in the comments so I can see it and try to link it, because you know this ain't gonna stay. So anyway, I think she should, if she want to sing, and she can sing, or people like her singing, I think she should. Why not? Shoot. And I don't think you have to always subscribe to my channel. I will definitely put a comment in the I'm not already, I thought I was already subscribed, but put a comment in the thing to remind me if I don't remember, because we on this mission to subscribe. I'm out here subscribing. I'm a content creator too. I'm out here subscribing, you know, to a lot of new channels, and it's getting a little disorienting. North Korea leader's sister takes real power to Olympics. South to the Olympics. So she is going to be the first person from the family of the person who founded North Korea to go to South Korea. Her brother, Kim Jong-un, is not going, but she is going to the Olympics, apparently. They were sending the head of state, you know, or somebody powerful, but not the main man, but now she's going. White nationalism is spreading like a virus among some Orthodox Jews, like Jewish people, not Jews. Thank you for the like. White nationalism is spreading. I don't know what it is about hate and meanness and pettiness. Hey Frank, thank you. I'm welcome for the like. I don't know what it is about meanness and pettiness, and I don't know if sometimes I think, yeah, I have a whole theory that's growing inside of me, but I shouldn't discuss it because, you know, but I don't know why people are mean. I'm glad North and South Korea are making amends, seems to be making amends. I don't really think they're making amends, but you know, it's always interesting because things in the world are not static. They move, they change, they shift all the time, just like your relationships, you know, so you never know what's going to happen. But someone has a theory that North Korea is just making these advances. They might, you know, I'm not going to say nothing, but that, you know, their intentions might not be all 100% honorable and all 100% pure, but you know. Row after French shop shreds unsold clothes. So you know, they instead of, you know, like it's like when I worked in a restaurant, I remember I worked with this guy. I'm not going to say his name, even though I know his name, and he sells spices, but I worked with this guy, and he would spreading with so-called white Latinos. Well, I know it's like everybody want to dog out, but anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But he would, when I worked with him in his restaurant, like if bananas or whatever got too brown, he would throw them away. And one time, I'm not like really a person who likes to throw food away, and one time I got one of those bananas out of the garbage, and he got upset with me and wanted to charge me for the banana. Now, that was one experience I had in food service where I was like, wow, that is really crazy, because it would like kind of stress me out to see him throwing food away, because I just felt like, even though I'm like, I don't have a use for this old banana, but maybe I could do, you know, I just, you know, and he was good about using some things, but I feel like the idea that you're going to throw away food and not, you know, I don't know. And then there was this one woman who I worked with in another Val. I'll call her name Valerie Michaels, Mama Val. She made her transition, and she used to do, in her little spot, she would do like raw vegan plates, so people could come get raw vegan plates. She did juices and fresh juices and smoothies, but she also had hot dogs, like 100% beef hot dogs. And I started going there because she had veggie chili dogs, and every once in a while, you know, I'm from Detroit. I grew up on chili dogs. You want a chili dog. I don't know when the last time is I've had a chili dog. But anyway, that's when I started going there, and I ended up working with her. And she was really, really good about sharing food. You know, she was good with how she handled people and how she handled food. Unlike that other chef I worked with who was, you know, it seemed like chefs are temperamental. But I guess also I feel like, back to this white nationalism spreading, I also feel like, you know, the corollary of that is like black consciousness and black pride. That's how I want to think about it. Like that we have more consciousness, we have more awareness of who we are, we're more comfortable being who we are, and we're more assertive in who we are. And, you know, like I am who I am. And so, you know, what they say, unapologetically black. So there was a row after the French shop shred the clothes. Instead of giving the clothes to people who might need them, they cut them up, shred them up so that nobody could use them instead of just giving them away. So when they say a row, that's like the European way of saying like a fight or a battle or people got upset. Like not like row your boat. Okay, UK government will finally settle the gig economy worker debate. So throughout the world, we see it in this country. There are a lot of people who they're like, oh, you're a consultant. You're not a worker, so I don't have to give you benefits. I don't have to pay taxes on you. I don't have to, it's like you end up, because when you have someone on as a worker, you have to pay. It costs you way more than just their salary to employ someone. Yeah, the more white lash, but also the more vocal. I'm gonna call you Nene, and that's not even your name. See, strange black media. But also the more vocal. I just feel like it balances out. I don't want to feel like, oh, things are just getting so bad and they just getting worse and they just gonna beat us down, because they not. They've been trying. They can't beat us down, because that truth, God and good cut to the ground is gonna rise again. So the gig economy thing. So in the same way that they're trying to take advantage of workers here, day. Oh, that was kind of close. What did I say? Nay, day. Like day. I have to think about it. So the same way that there's like a way of taking advantage of workers here, because when you have to deal with your own retirement, when you have to deal with there's a lot that you individually are like in a strange situation to deal with, especially because we don't educate people. Hi, recipes by Rupa. We don't educate people to, it was really close. We don't have a solid financial education. We are not financially literate for the most part. And if your family and your parents are not financially literate, unless you go out and study and learn, it's like very difficult for you to have any literacy in finance. And then it's on top of that, there are institutions who are like trying to like brainwash you and get you to, like, I'm a bank, I want you to buy my banking products, so I want you to think that credit scores are really important. I want you to think that borrowing money is really important and that you can't live in the world without borrowing money. And statistic, like if you look historically, lots of people have like this borrowing money to the extent that we do now is like, I feel like it's like less than a 50, it's definitely less than a 50-year trend, but I think it's even like, I've been studying it for a minute, but I think it's still within like that 20-30-year trend where people are borrowing so much money to go to school, borrowing so much money for cars, borrowing so much money for homes, borrowing money just for day-to-day living expenses, these payday loans, there's like, so then you expect this same person who doesn't even have the consciousness to understand that, or the consciousness or they don't even understand that these financial tools that y'all are pushing down their throat are not good for them. Now they're supposed to plan for retirement and take care of their medical expenses, and so in London in the UK they're starting to get a handle a little bit on this whole gig economy thing, and the way that these big corporations, these 1%ers, are using the labor but not really taking care of the workers. So putting us in a situation where it's almost sort of like, I mean, if you can't afford to live, you can't afford to eat, you can't, it's almost like kind of like sort of, I mean, I don't want to say it's like slavery, but I mean, it's kind of like you're in a desperate situation. You become a desperado. You got to work because you got to pay these bills. You got to eat. You got to live. And so you have to take any job you can get. And if it's 2 cents an hour, 2 cents an hour is better than no cents an hour, and 2 cents an hour. And we'll, 12 of us live in this room together. And then maybe we could try to survive, and, we'll get skinny, and, but we got to do what we got to do because, that's what we got to do. So UK government is making some inroads and taking some leadership on that. The story of Queen Nanny of the Maroons. Hey, 5 likes, 4 people in the room. Welcome. Thanks for being here. The story of Queen Nanny of the Maroons. I don't know much about her, but she was This is coming off of Atlanta Black Star if you want to look it up or Google her. But she was originally, she was born in Africa, and she came into this country through enslavement. And she was not into this country, into Jamaica. And she was one of the people who was part of the Maroon community there, who said, we going off on our own. We're not going to be a part of your enslavement system, and fought for their freedom and maintain freedom up in the mountains. And there is also a theory going around. I've seen someone has started doing research about, there were communities of Maroons right here in this country in the swamp area. And I saw somebody on a video talking about, I don't like swamps. So anyway, I really want to hear more about that. But anyway, shout outs and much love and rest in power to Queen Nanny of the Maroons. May your spirit infuse us all with the power of resistance. And, just self-determination. Let's be who we are. White Asian parents successfully appeal to gain acceptance into competitive academic programs, while parents of smart Black children are left in the dark. I noticed that when I worked in education. It was like if your parents didn't know how to work that system, those children were at a disadvantage unless they were lucky enough to have some teacher or some administrator who was able to advocate on their behalf. But in this system, it's talking about how in the second grade, I don't know if I think this was in Philly, but I'm not positive. Or it might have been in Virginia. But this is focusing on one particular system where in second grade, the students get tested into gifted. So if the children test into gifted and they don't pass the cut, most of the Black kids, they just we didn't pass the cut. A lot of the Asian and white parents already know that they need to appeal. So they pay $500 to have their children take an additional intelligence test. And a lot of those children who take that test get placed into the gifted program. So it's like a back door that everybody knows about, but a lot of Black and brown people don't. So I think they said like 3% of Black and brown people come in through the reevaluation system, where the appeal system, where they, appeal the decision to let their children into the gifted program at second grade. And then in high school, there's some special, so getting into a gifted program in second grade sets those children up to potentially get into the high schools that are going to, allow them to get into certain types of colleges and have certain types of experiences. And, I kind of feel like, I don't think that my mother was necessarily very sophisticated. I just feel like, I feel like, she was well educated, and I come from a family that's well educated, but she wasn't involved in my education in a certain way. But luckily Detroit at that time, sort of took care of a certain class of students, So yeah, that's funny. I was tested into advanced classes. I think when I was in the second or third grade, I tested into there was something where I was like taking algebra or something when I was like in the fourth grade. And I think that was due to some test I had in the second or third grade. But I remember now as an adult, when I hear about tracking, I'm like, oh, I was tracked. And I didn't really process it in that way. I just thought, oh, I was one of the smart kids. But my mother was not really an advocate for me in the educational system. And I saw so many children, especially when I got to New York, when I was as an adult working in the schools, with children, with young people there. It was sort of like so many kids need advocates. And, even at the college that I went to, I noticed that, if you didn't, I already had a clarity that I was like smart, but I feel like there were so many people who didn't have that clarity that they were smart, and they would be sitting in classrooms with people who had had totally different educational experiences from them. So for example, for me to write, one of my first year English classes, we had to write like a 5-page paper or a 10-page paper every week a paper. And I was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. This is hard to do. But there were other kids who had come from high schools, where they put out 5-10-page papers every week in their class. So it was easy for them, not because they were smarter, but because they had already been trained and oriented that way. And, and nobody told you, I didn't until I was older. I didn't really understand that. The system, people's educational experiences were so different. But I did understand that I ain't dumber than none of these other children here. So I don't know why. This is easier for them. But I never felt like, I guess I'm dumb. But I feel like I saw a lot of people who felt that they were dumb. Like when I work with that was like part of the work with young people, like. That you're just as smart, you're just as bright, you're just as talented as anybody else. So, so less than 3% get in through the appeals process in this particular system. Detroit was my school considered a black school. Day asked. I think I got a little family member called Day. I got to check on that. Detroit, when I was growing up, was like 85-95% black. So my school was all black. But it was not like in Detroit, some of the first, the first African-centered school. And we had African-centered schools in Detroit. But my school was not one of those schools. I remember going into a class and my teacher said, "Oh, there are no black women lawyers." And I'm like, "Yes, there are." And she's like, "No, there aren't." It was a consumer education class, a white woman teaching the class. I'm like, "My mother is a black woman lawyer." And she didn't believe me. She thought I was lying. And I'm like, and that's also like in terms of who teaches your children. And, but I already knew I'm like, she don't know what she's talking about. But the advocacy, so 3% of the kids, of black and brown kids, get in through the appeals process, and even less through the back door, and even less get in through the front door. So when you look at their gifted program in this community, it's almost all white students, very few black and brown students. And then one of the black students' parents was saying this system works if the parents are involved. If your parents are not involved, the system doesn't. So even if a child slips in through that system, without the advocacy or someone to help them through the system, they're not going to make. It's hard. I don't want to say they're not going to make it, but it's challenge after challenge after challenge. But we know that challenge after challenge after challenge makes us strong and good and smart. And, that's how that's who we are. I mean, my people are strong people. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that in some ways, it's unfortunate that we've had so many challenges, but it certainly has exposed to us our strength and our power, or to me. Russian trolls use Tumblr to influence American voters. So we knew about Twitter, we knew about Facebook. I don't even know if I've ever been on Tumblr, but now Tumblr. So Black Lives Matter activist who took Confederate flag from protester fatally shot in New Orleans. His name was Moye. I don't know if that's Moye or Moy. That's what he was called. That wasn't actually his name, but that's what people called him. He was riding a bike. He got shot in his thigh. That's all I've heard of the story. I don't know, what's up. So rest in peace, Brother Moye. I don't really know anything about him, but he was in New Orleans when he was shot. His family is trying to raise money to get him back to South Carolina. I think it's South Carolina. It's South somewhere. Do we have any other South? I think it's South Carolina. To get him back to South Carolina. Rapper Remy Ma fires her manager, Vincent Herbert. Black Lives activist shot and killed in New Orleans. We talked about that. Captured on, so rest in power, rest in peace. Did I say that? And, to the family and the community. And captured on camera, white mob protested black students integrating University of Georgia in 1961. More hateration. Songwriter finally gets credit for "We Shall Overcome." I don't know who the songwriter was. I did click on the article, but I didn't remember. India Arie says she is offended by Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake skit. They used a term songversation, and she said she's offended that that term is a term that she says that she coins, and it's a sacred term, and it's not a term basically for no bull, skit, and foolishness. And that's what they were doing, and she didn't appreciate it. And if you agree or don't agree, that's fine, but she don't appreciate it. And then when I was reading the article, it was like she had two different albums called conversation or that referenced it or something. So she's like really attached to it, and it's like a sacred conversation for her. South Africa's Jacob Zuma could quit within days. It's a lot of activity going on in the world in terms of leadership. First modern Britons had dark to black skin, Natural History Museum study reveals. Cardi B receives death threats over Instagram caption. I don't know if I saw a video or whatever. I must have seen a video. So the last 2 days she's been posting up stuff where she's wearing blue, all blue, and I guess that's like some sign in the gang world. And I didn't understand, because when she said these are bloody shoes, these are red bottoms, I guess that's gang talk. Is she talking gang talk? I didn't know. She's a blood, and now she doing Crips or something. I didn't really follow the mess, but they say she done closed the comments down on. I'm not on Instagram, and I probably wouldn't be following her if I was. No, nothing against her. I've always wanted to visit or live in South Africa. My people are in South Africa right now. I just spoke with them for a 2-week visit. I never thought much about South Africa, but we read Trevor Noah's not his autobiography, his memoir last year in book club. And it's like, okay, I can get into it. I started to, and I remember when Nelson Mandela came to Detroit, I was one of the people who volunteered because my mother hooked me up and she was like, it's so exciting. And I'm like, is it? And now I'm like, okay. I mean, that was a part of, history. Can foreign policy be feminist? Sweden says yes. That was a little interesting article. Y'all, I've been on this thing for 30 minutes. We got to go. We got stuff to do. I'm just chit-chatting. My soul is tired. I am young, black, and undocumented in Trump's America. That's a piece coming off of the Griot. Hey, is the Griot on? It was somebody who, Juneteenth. Who does Financial Juneteenth? Whoever does Financial Juneteenth, I can't remember his name, but he said that some publication was attacking him, some white-owned black publication was attacking him. I think it was the Griot. An adult who went, and mostly when we think of undocumented folks, we think of brown folks. We don't really so much think, I feel like I don't want to say the propaganda, but usually they'll show you a brown person like, oh, they're undocumented. They don't usually show you like an African person or a black person. An adult who went undercover at a Kansas high school found teenage girls now think it's normal to post promiscuous pictures online. Welcome in. Go ahead and like if you're new to the chat. We're just going through the news feed. Will Smith's when I was finishing working with the children, some child, I had in that program, I think we had junior high and high school students, and this child was a junior high student, or they say she was in the habit of giving BJs to boys in the staircase. And so I was one of the people that was part of the conversation with her, to try to stabilize this situation, figure out what's going on and how we can support you, and what's going on, and I was kind of just shocked because a part of her position was that a BJ is not really very intimate. Kissing, now that's intimate, but a BJ is not intimate. Have some work. See you later. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Enjoy your work and enjoy it. And I was just kind of like, to me, that's like a whole different perspective from, I was like, this is very, and that it was kind of like, I felt like that kind of made me feel like things were changing with people younger than me, like how they process things, how they moved in the world. I guess when you look up to, these people who are out here posting naked pic, I guess it's just like a different world, and it's way more accessible for you to see. If you're on Instagram, you can see the people posting up, the naked shots and the near naked shots, I guess. I don't see them so much on Twitter and Facebook, but I guess it's who you follow too. I've been on some people's Facebook page and been like, why are there so many, booty shots on it? What's going on? And it's who they following. And I'm like, oh, because I didn't even know they had that on Facebook. So, I guess some of these children, according to this person, think it's normal to post promiscuous stories online. We didn't even have no normal for online because we didn't have online. So I don't know what's normal online. Will Smith's Instagram videos are the best thing on the internet this week. You can't post naked stuff on Instagram. So when they be having the Kardashian woman and her naked pictures, and the woman with the short blonde hair who the black men like, who she might Amber Rose, I thought they were like naked or near naked pictures. I thought they were coming off of Instagram. But anyway, Will Smith is apparently, I've heard, is new to Instagram or something and having a ball. I guess he's enjoying it and people are enjoying him. Speaking of, us older people in social media, like, oh, YouTube. Who knew? The lone member of Kenya's Olympic team is a 19-year-old skier who used crowdfunding to help her train. Yay, I don't know your name, sis. Does it say what your name is? Sabrina Samater. Sabrina Samater. Yay, Sabrina Samater. Go ahead, girl. And I guess, you got to hustle how you hustle. Some people don't have a family to support them to do the things that they dream financially. So they might support them in other ways. 30 eerie pictures that show what happens to Olympic venues after the games end. A 23-year-old woman has stopped wearing a bra to start a saggy boobs movement, and her photos are inspiring. War tore apart the city that hosted the 1984 Winter Olympics. Here's what the abandoned venues look like today. Sarajevo. I'm pronouncing it wrong, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Sarajevo. I don't know why I can't pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced, but I'm like black. I have a whole bunch of thoughts about the Olympics and these big things that come like Super Bowl, and I have thoughts about that. Come get your uncle. Quincy Jones claims he once dated Ivanka Trump. I love that title, the headline. Come get your uncle. Come get your uncle. He said that y'all know Quincy Jones says that he has 22 women and he only dates women who are under 30 because he don't want no old people or something. I don't know what foolish. He was talking a whole bunch of foolishness. It was not cute. And I was already like, somebody come get your Uncle Q because he need to sit his old behind down. But yeah, he said he dated Ivanka Trump, and this was after she was married. So we haven't, according to this article, they hadn't heard back from, the people who like to get on the, I can't stand Quincy Jones' white loving ass. I don't really know much about him, but he seemed like I didn't know if he was senile or just joking and talking. Bye, Miss Fabulous. Bye, Rowdy Cheek. I know it's been a long time. I didn't know if he was just talking mess or if he was, I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, I love the title. Come get your uncle. Him and Harry Belafonte. What? Now, Harry Belafonte, but it's sort of like I started making a list. This is going to sound really, really strange, but I started making a list of men who have women who are their color or darker. Because it's kind of like there is so much out there of men who have women who are their color or lighter or white. But aren't there some men who, I don't know. So I started trying to keep a list and trying to pay. He did not date black women. I started trying to keep a list and trying to pay attention of, the other part of the story. So I got Kenya Moore and her husband. I think I got about 4 people on the list so far. So if you know anybody, it's one of them is a family I know here in Detroit. But everybody like they women lighter than them, especially black men. Whiter, lighter. Not everybody, but y'all know what I'm... White mom raising 2 black children gets real about confronting her own racism. He had an affair with Eartha Kitt and told her that there was nothing a black woman could do for him. Yeah, I was watching something the other day. I can't remember what it was, watching or reading. And the guy, it was basically like, if you're a black man and you're in a room with white men, if you have a white woman on your arm, it's like, I've made it. I'm as successful as you. I'm as good as you. And I'm like, wouldn't it be interesting? Because really the gag is that if you're with a black woman or, then that's like, I've really made it because I circumvented you trying to program me into believing that me and my people ain't nothing. You know what I mean? That would really be the gag to get you the blackety blackest woman. But they, there's been, we just, God help us. Okay, a house narrower than a tube passenger car is for sale in London for 1.4 million. And I know a tube passenger car is kind of small, but I think when I looked, I was like, well, how small is that? 7.5 feet, like less than 8 feet wide the house is. Part of the tiny house movement. Chinese police spot suspects with surveillance sunglasses. They can identify facial recognition in the glasses. The future is here. Jill Scott nabs court gag order after ex goes off the rails to the press. I think this whole conversation about, there's a whole conversation in our community because it's really about us dating and our relationships, and because this Jill Scott thing and her husband, and this other woman, Mary J. Blige and her husband, it's kind of disturbing. I feel like there's a whole conversation that could be had about that. But he out here, and the stuff he's talking sounds petty and childish, and who gets out of a relationship? I mean, he just sounds, I would be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I can't be embarrassed for nobody else, but he just sounds like who does that? It's not a good look. It is not attractive at all. I feel really sad that she was with a man of that caliber. And I don't mean that caliber in terms of his financial resources. I mean that caliber in terms of his emotional resources and his, just what quality of man is that? Ooh. I mean, and I've been, I've been out here. I mean, I ain't been out here, but I mean, it's some good men out here, and he's not a good quality of man. I mean, a good caliber. Ohio high school senior asked to withdraw from school for raising his voice at a white teacher. They asked him to leave school, withdraw. You raised your voice at the white teacher, you got to go. You got to withdraw. That's a whole conversation right there. Japan's Princess Mako postpones wedding to commoner Kai Komuro or whatever. The abuse victim who protested in the same spot for 20 years. This was a man who says that he was he says that so Jim Crow, I was trying to process which story. He says that he was abused by a Catholic priest. And he wrote a letter to the Vatican or whatever. And, so he'd been protesting for 20 years. When he first started protesting, he said he lived down the street and he would go there. He would drive there every day after work. Now he's about 70 now. He lived with his son. He had to take the bus. So he can't go every day. He just go 2 or 3 days a week. And he hold up a sign saying something like he was raped by the church or something. And I had some thoughts about that, but I got to keep moving. Viacom moved Sarah Levy to expanded leadership role at Nickelodeon and BET. Sarah Levy, L-E-V-Y, Levy. I don't know how to pronounce her name exactly. But I guess it's just like a reminder again of the fact that BET is not black owned. So I really try to pay attention to the programming, like the programming and who's programming, because most of the stuff we get is advancing somebody else's agenda. I mean, I'm not going to pay money to put stuff out there. Like when I'm writing a book, when I'm writing, my energy and my vibration is from my people. I'm trying to uplift and empower my people. So I'm not going to pay money and write a book and spend energy to do stuff that's going to take away my power. So, I figure whatever is coming off of BET, I try to be conscious. Like I like the quiet. But I'm willing to read some think pieces and be educated and get some clarity. And, if there's something I'm missing and can't catch, because I try to be vigilant, but I try to stay woke, but sometimes you get a little drowsy. While Philly fans riot and destroy property, Fox host says law enforcement should relax. It's just white people. It's cool. I ain't even followed what's going on in Philly. But it's SSDD. Same stuff, different day. It's nothing new. Rotten Tomatoes score for Black Panther breaks Marvel record. Patreon lets creators share progress through Snapchat-like stories. I ain't never been on Snapchat. I don't know nothing about it. Matthew Knowles says Beyonce and Solange's light complexions helped their music careers. I wasn't even going to talk about that story because I didn't really think, I thought that was like obvious, but I guess some people disagree. But I guess to me that just seems obvious. I guess it's because I'm black and ugly. Painter passes out after Diddy and DJ Khaled buy her artwork. She was outside or something and they bought her artwork. She was so happy. She passed out. I think she was trying to sell it for, people love to downplay it and get mad. The same way with racism. But it's interesting because in the same way that I feel like I understood what you were saying, girl. Day Day. Look, I'm calling you girl. I don't know if you girl or man. Look, I shouldn't be calling woman. I understood what you were saying, person. Jim Jones fired up over alleged racial profiling. Oh man, okay. Day Day. Oh, and my little family member. I think he's Day Day. I think it's Day Day. I'm gonna check now. Jim Jones fired up over alleged racial profiling incident. Now, this is a man who I guess he had some kind of career in music production, whatever. I don't, something in hip hop. He was on this Love and Hip Hop show, and he went to the gym and he was trying to charge his phone up, and they told him no. And then he kind of got upset a little bit about that. And then when he was leaving, he said he's a rapper. Oh, he's a rapper? Okay. Jim Jones and Miss Chrissy. When he was leaving the gym, he said that he waved, and the woman said that he had a few hits. I might know him if I heard him, but the woman said, "You're giving me the finger," and he was like, "No, I was waving." So he feels that he was profiled. He's been a member for 4 years, whatever. So he's fired up, and I guess some people are talking about it. I really had a whole conversation about that, but I'm sure we'll loop back around to it some other day because we going on forever. Math teacher causes outrage with questions about cocaine. So she or he, I don't know who, they given like if you cut your stuff by 20%, and it's like it seemed like when the couple questions I saw, I'm like, well, what kind of questions are these for children? These seem like questions if you're trying to train people to be drug dealers. I don't understand. I was like, I didn't understand. That's coming off the griot too. I would be outraged too. I'm like, what? The people, we have to do better about, we need people teaching our children who love our children and who care about our children and have some sense and some consciousness and a vision for our children. A positive, productive, engaged vision. I don't know who these people are they got in these schools. I do know because I worked around some schools, and even the black folks that they had in the schools, some of them, I was like, that after I worked in schools, I was like, teachers will do that sometimes to try to relate. But I mean, are they trying to relate to mostly children who are drug dealers? Because I wouldn't be able to relate to that. I mean, I don't understand why that's relatable. But when I worked in public schools, that caused me to be like, if I ever have children, they will be homeschooled. I do not care. No. Violence erupts as South Sudan protesters denounce U.S. arms embargo. Well, okay, you're 24. A lot of your peers smoke weed. I'm 50, 45. I know a lot of people who smoke weed. Okay, but what are a lot of your friends using cocaine? Look, not even that's relevant, but anyway, I don't think that's irrelevant. I don't think that's, I mean, I don't know, maybe a lot of the children in the class, I don't know what the context is. I don't know what the context is. I don't know what the context is, but it sounds, cocaine to me and weed to me sound like totally different things. And I know some people are like, weed is a gateway drug, and I don't necessarily believe that. I don't smoke, I don't drink. I'm a vegetarian. But I just, based on my observation and my life experience, I don't put weed in the same category as cocaine. No, he said they were talking about cocaine. How to cut cocaine out. It's coming off of Atlanta Black Star. It's coming off the Griot. And the title is Math Teacher Causes Outrage with Questions About Cocaine. So you can, you can Google the story and pull it up. I still got to call my phone company and get my tablet linked up. But I used to send stuff over to my Twitter page, to my Twitter feed, so you could actually hit the link for the article. But my daggone tablet is not even connected. It's not even a phone anymore. It used to be a phone, and I need to call, and because when I bought it, they didn't set it up right, and I haven't even taken the time, because I feel like, why did you feel differently? Would you feel differently if it was weed? I don't know. I mean, because I have a whole, I don't know. I guess it would depend on who the teacher, and see, that gets into like who the teacher is and what the context is. I feel like if it was one of these African-centered schools in Detroit and they use that as an example, that might seem more viable to me. If it was a regular school in Detroit and they use weed, and the mainstream perspective on weed is that weed is evil and terrible, and then I would be like, so I would question what their particular motives are, not because that's my value system, but because I'm like, what is, I don't know. It would catch my attention. Quentin Tarantino interview about Roman Polanski rape resurfaces. That radio show where that came up, I can't remember whose show it was, but it's a radio show. He's like a shock jock. I can't remember his name, but that's the same place where they had Trump on the show talking about he'd date his daughter, or he was saying some offhanded comments about his daughter. Trump. I feel like we need to get the transcripts of that show. I can't think of that man's name. I can see his head. I can see him in my show because he has a black woman sidekick with locks. There's a lot of gentrification here, but I think it's still 85% black in Detroit. It's like when you go downtown, it's like almost all white. Like I'm like, what? I didn't grow up like that. Detroit wasn't like that downtown. But it is now. Like my high school was just a regular Detroit public high school. And I think that I had in my class, like I had one Mexican student, one white student, maybe two white, like but there were like, how many people? I think there were like 800 who graduated in my class. And, I don't know how many were white, but not very many, maybe 20 or 30. In my classes, I think I had like 2 or 3 non-black people. It was virtually black. Detroit was, but it's still virtually black. I'm sure if you go to most schools, it's still like that. Now I'm supposed to go to a school program on Friday. We'll see. Quentin Tarantino was saying that if you hadn't heard about it, I was really offended by it. He was saying that the 13-year-old girl was dated the man and was a willing participant in dealing with Roman Polanski, and so it wasn't really rape. And that basically, I don't know if he said this exactly, but rape is like a violent thing. When you like I'm assuming, you grab somebody from the alley and beat them up and then rape them. That's rape. But, if you take a 13-year-old girl on a couple of dates and she have sex with you, then that's, and I'm like, what 13-year-old's mother or parents are letting her date? I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff that lets me know that child was having some issues. Her parents were not there in the mix already. It was a problem. But anyway, let me get off. Let me keep it moving because I don't even want to talk about that. But I do want to get the transcripts of that shock jock radio host who does Quentin Tarantino was being interviewed on. I can't think of his name, but I feel like it's gonna be some jewels in there about some people. Kendrick Lamar and SZA dropped Gorgeous All the Stars Black Panther video. And I did watch it on YouTube yesterday. I think it came across my feed. Jordan Peele. Uh-oh, my battery is low. I really gotta go. Jordan Peele considers making Get Out sequel. Chicago man allegedly shot his friend for being too loud. Washington nursery waxed children's eyebrows, like a nursery school, like they went to school, and then when they came back, the children's unibrow was gone, and their skin was irritated. And the mama asked what happened, and the person, Joyce Gilliard, injured crew member from Midnight Rider, launches safety PSA. Talking about working in film and how dangerous it is. The PM download, February 6, 2018, Black Panther score on Rotten Tomatoes leaves us cheering, and the NAACP goes to work. Brazil police arrest sect members for enslavement. Fox orders Kevin Hart presentation Lil Kev as part of big animated series push. Yeah, we have a big Mexican community, but it's like, it's not just Mexican. It was when I was growing up, but that's a whole nother thing. Does your holiday pass the human rights test? Jacob Zuma, we already talked about that. Lawsuits allege NYPD cops are targeting Caribbean-owned businesses. I don't know if my thing is going to cut off. It might cut off. Taiwan earthquake, series of powerful aftershocks hit Hualien. Forget millennials. Alibaba is swooping in on a surprising consumer market in China that's already 222 million strong, 60-year-olds and up, baby boomers. Review, Eve Ensler's dazzling in the body of the world. Kenya Barris, blah, 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 blah. ABC's comedy order changed from series to pilot after Baldwin opts not to star. Man arrested for using sledgehammer to attack 12 cop cars. That's not funny. I wanted to know why and what happened and what he was thinking. He went into and the cops are upset because they need protection. I'm like, oh, I thought y'all were the protection. The cops need protection now. They said this place where the cars get parked, need to have better security. So that's what I got for today's long edition of Notes on the News Feed. Thank you so much for joining in on the live chat or watching the review. That's all I got. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get my my Married at First Sight video in today. But it's all good. It's all God. I'm glad y'all were here and that we got to chit chat and spend time. It's like it's a whole, it's different when it's people instead of just this little dot right here. Like, comment, share, subscribe. The content doesn't cost you anything except for whatever you want to offer. And I definitely take offerings of likes, comments, shares, and subscriptions. So we're working on 1,000. And today is the best day ever. You are the greatest. So be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Peace, Day Day. I might remember it. See, it might be locked in my head now. Day Day. Bye, y'all. Peace. Bye. Be you. Be fabulous. See, I had stopped singing the song on the live and people were like, oh, we like the song. I'm like, I didn't even know anybody stayed long enough to hear the song. Be you. I was just singing it for me. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous.